My parents sent my husband a watch for his birthday. The moment I saw it, something inside me froze. My stomach twisted like it recognized danger before my mind did. "Don't touch it," I whispered. He looked at me, confused, the box half open in his hands. "What? Why?" he asked. I shook my head, my voice trembling. "Please, just don't touch it. It's a trap." He stared at me like I was losing my mind, but he didn't argue. The box sat on the table between us, heavy, gleaming, silent. It looked harmless, just a gift wrapped in soft black velvet, but I could feel the wrongness radiating from it. The night before had been ordinary. Dinner was bland and forgettable. Something frozen, something beige. He was rinsing the dishes, and I was wiping down the counter when the doorbell rang. A brown cardboard parcel sat on the porch. The kind of box you get from 1,000 online orders. Standard shipping label, cheerful birthday sticker, nothing special. But as soon as he opened it, everything changed. "Oh," he said with a small smile. "Your parents sent me something." He lifted the watch box out like it was a prize. Black, sleek, far too elegant for them. My parents didn't give luxury gifts, they gave coupons, socks, maybe a sweater if they remembered the size. "That's nice," I said softly, but the words felt wrong in my mouth. He slid his thumb under the lid, and that's when the dread hit me fully. "Don't," I said sharply. He froze mid-motion, looking up at me in surprise. "Don't touch it," I repeated. I pulled a tea towel from the oven handle, wrapped it around the box, and set it down gently, as if it might explode. He didn't laugh. That's when I knew he felt it too. We sat there for a long moment, the ticking of the kitchen clock suddenly deafening. I took a photo of the box, not for memory, but for evidence. Then I searched the brand name online. Within seconds, the screen showed a retail listing. Price $3,800. I turned the phone to him silently. He leaned closer, frowned. "That's impossible," he said. But it wasn't. My parents couldn't afford something like that. I'd been paying their bills for years quietly, automatically, because that's what daughters do. I knew every penny they had, and they didn't have that kind of money. "Where did they get it?" he asked. I didn't answer. I already had a sinking feeling I knew. My brother had moved out just 6 months earlier, somehow managing to buy not rent be on apartment. He claimed he'd launched a startup. Something vague about technology, patents, investors, but he'd never coded a thing in his life. My parents were thrilled for him, suddenly proud and secretive. They didn't like when I asked questions. And now this watch, it was too much of a coincidence. My parents had always said they treated us equally. That wasn't true. Equal meant I handled responsibilities, while my brother handled nothing. I paid bills, filled out forms, managed chores. He chased dreams and called himself unlucky. Growing up, he got away with everything. I got told to set an example. I never complained, not even when I met my husband. My parents thought I'd settled beneath my potential. He wasn't rich, or tall, or the kind of man they could boast about at family dinners. But he had something rare heart. He ran a local charity that served hot meals to the homeless. I fell for him quietly, completely, like exhaling after holding my breath for years. We built our life together out of decency and hard work. I joined him at the charity, volunteering at first, then managing budgets, events, outreach. The work was exhausting, humble, and good. Eventually, we offered my parents part-time positions at the charity's mall administrative roles to give them purpose. It felt like healing. For the first time, I thought maybe we were all on the same side. Then, 6 months ago, everything changed. My brother's mysterious startup took off, or so he said. Around the same time, my father introduced a new food supplier to the charity. He arrived one afternoon looking smug, a folder tucked under his arm. "Found us a better deal," he said proudly. "Cheaper, healthier, local." My husband reviewed the numbers. They looked fine and we trusted him. For a while, it worked. Then the complaints started. At first, just whispers. The meals tasted different, the portions smaller. Then worse, people started getting sick. Not food poisoning bad, but bad enough that one man ended up hospitalized from dehydration. My husband went into full crisis mode, auditing everything, checking invoices, contacting shelters. What he found made him sick. The supplier had been substituting expired, low-grade food and charging us for premium ingredients. Fraud, plain and simple. He called an emergency meeting. My parents defended the supplier. People exaggerate, my father said. You can't please everyone. My mother nodded, calling it a misunderstanding. But it wasn't. The evidence was clear. My husband told them the contract was terminated immediately. My father lost his temper. He ranted about loyalty, business, relationships, optics. It'll make us look bad, he snapped. You think you're running a 5-star restaurant? The anger in his voice wasn't protective, it was fearful. I recognized it. They weren't defending the supplier. They were defending themselves. Then came the watch. My husband's birthday was that week. We weren't planning anything grand, just a quiet night in, maybe some takeout and a movie. When the parcel arrived, he smiled. Your parents actually remembered, he said, but when I saw the box, my heart dropped. The next morning, we didn't speak much. The box sat untouched on the counter, still wrapped in the tea towel. I wrote 2 letters that morning, formal termination letters for my parents. He didn't ask what I wrote. He already knew. We drove in silence to the charity office. My parents were there, pretending to work. My father scrolled his phone. My mother reread the same email. I handed them the envelopes. My husband placed the box on the table. My father frowned. What's this? Open it, I said. They did. My mother's face fell. You're firing us. Yes, I said simply, effective immediately. My father stood up so fast, the chair scraped the floor. We're your family, he said. Not anymore, I replied. His face went red. We've done nothing wrong, really. I opened my phone and showed him the watch listing again. Explain this. Where did you get the money? He looked at my mother. She looked away. It was a gift, he muttered. A $3,800 gift. From who? We thought he deserved something nice, my mother said defensively. Is generosity a crime now? No, I said, but bribery is... Their silence confirmed everything. I pressed further. Why did you push for that supplier? What was so urgent? My father's jaw tightened. My mother whispered, we were helping your brother. My world tilted. Helping him how? My father's voice cracked. He had investors, partners. They paid in advance. We couldn't just walk away. It would have ruined him. People got sick, I shouted. You knew, and you kept covering for them. My father slammed his palm on the table. No one died. The words echoed through the room. My husband's face went pale. You risked lives for money, I asked. My father glared. You care more about strangers than your own family. I took a deep breath. No, I said softly. I care about what's right, and what you did was wrong. I told them to leave. My voice didn't shake. They didn't slam the door. They just walked out slowly, defeated, realizing that something between us had broken beyond repair. For the first time, I didn't feel like the daughter. I felt like the adult in the room, but it wasn't over. Later that week, someone pounded on our door. Not a knock, furious, relentless pounding. I opened it to find my brother, red-faced and shaking. What did you do? He barked. Good morning to you too, I said coldly. You canceled the contract. Do you have any idea what you've done? He shouted. My husband stepped behind me, calm but firm. Why don't you explain it to us? My brother's eyes darted between us. You're going to get us killed? He hissed. My blood ran cold. What are you talking about? He raked his hands through his hair. The investors? They paid up front. Now the deal's dead. The money's gone, and they're asking for it back. Who are they? I asked. He hesitated. That pause told me everything. What people? He didn't answer directly, but I could see the fear in his eyes. They're not the kind of people who send polite emails, he muttered. You took dirty money, I said quietly. You pushed a contract that poisoned people land. Now you want us to fix it. We didn't know the food was bad, he shouted. You didn't want to know? I shot back. Because ignorance paid the bills. He folded his arms, his arrogance deflating into panic. I'm going to have to sell my apartment, he said bitterly. Maybe you shouldn't have bought it with stolen money, I replied. I was helping the family, he snapped. No, my husband said, you were helping yourself. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. Then my brother lowered his voice. If you bring the supplier back, this can still be fixed. We're not doing that, I said. His eyes hardened. You should think about what happens if you don't. Was that a threat? My husband asked. It's a fact, my brother said before storming out. We didn't stop him. We just closed the door. 3 days later, the attacks began. 3 days later, the attacks began. It started small snide rumors online, anonymous comments accusing our charity of misusing funds. Then came the fake reviews, the calls from donors suddenly concerned, and a whisper campaign that spread faster than truth ever could. Someone leaked photos of our storage area, edited to look unsanitary. Food crates overturned, trash scattered, fake times. The damage was brutal. Donations dropped overnight. My husband tried to stay calm, but I saw the exhaustion in his eyes. The same man who used to greet every new day with quiet optimism now looked like he was carrying the weight of the world. We reported the harassment, filed complaints, even met with a lawyer, but nothing stuck. There were no fingerprints, no evidence, just chaos and shadows. Then one evening, my mother called. Her voice trembled. You need to stop this, she said. Stop what? I asked flatly. You're destroying your brother, she said. He's scared. He's scared. I laughed bitterly. He's the one who sent those lies. He made a mistake, she whispered. We all did a mistake, I snapped. People got sick, Mom. They could have died. You knew. You watched it happen. There was silence on the line, then a quiet sob. We didn't mean for it to go that far. But you let it, I said softly. And now you want me to clean it up? You're our daughter, she pleaded. Please, don't do this to us. I took a deep breath. You did this to yourselves. I hung up. That night, our office was broken into. They didn't steal money. They took files, contracts, financial records, supplier logs, everything that could prove their guilt. It was all gone by morning. The police said it looked professional. I knew exactly who was behind it. My family had chosen their side, and it wasn't mine. My husband sat at his desk, head in his hands. Maybe we should just walk away, he said quietly. Start over somewhere else. But I couldn't. I'd spent years building this place not for pride or money, but for purpose. For the people who came to us hungry, desperate, invisible. I couldn't let corruption win. No, I said, we fight. He looked up at me, eyes tired, but alive again. Then we do it, right? For weeks, we gathered evidence, bank statements, transaction trails, messages that my parents thought they'd deleted. I found proof of kickbacks disguised as consulting fees. Payments routed through shell accounts. My brother's signature on invoices from the supplier's fake corporation. Every document screamed fraud. But I didn't take it to the police. Not yet. I wanted the truth to come out where it mattered most, in front of the community they'd betrayed. We organized an event under the pretense of a relaunch, inviting donors, partners, volunteers. Even my parents came, pretending everything was fine, smiling for cameras they didn't know weren't on their side. When the crowd settled, I stepped to the microphone. Before we begin, I said, there's something everyone deserves to know. I clicked the remote. The projector lit up behind me, spreadsheets, emails, bank records. The room fell silent. For months, I continued. Our charity has been under attack. False accusations, lies. And we've been quiet not because we were guilty, but because we were gathering proof. My father's smile vanished. My mother paled. My brother, sitting in the back, shifted uncomfortably. This, I said, pointing to the screen, is where your donations went. Not to feed families, but to line pockets. These transactions, I highlighted one line, traced directly to accounts owned by the supplier's shell company. The same company connected to my family. Gasps rippled through the crowd. My mother tried to stand, but my husband calmly placed a document on the table in front of her assigned receipt. Don't, he said softly. I turned back to the audience. We thought we could trust the people closest to us. We were wrong. But today, that ends. I could feel my hand shaking, but I didn't stop. Our mission is to serve with honesty, and that starts with truth even when it hurts. The silence that followed was deep, heavy, electric. Then came applause, low at first, then rising. My parents sat frozen, unable to meet anyone's eyes. My brother bolted for the door, but the police were already waiting. I'd tipped him off hours earlier. Watching them lead him away was the hardest thing I'd ever done. My mother cried quietly. My father refused to look at me. Later that night, after everyone had gone, I sat alone in the darkened office. The projector's light had faded, leaving only shadows. My husband walked in, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "You okay?" he asked. "No," I said honestly, "but I will be." We sipped in silence. Then he said, "You did the right thing." "It doesn't feel like it," I murmured. "It will," he said. And he was right. The next weeks were brutal. Investigations, statements, court hearings. This story hit local news. Family charity scandal. The headlines read, I avoided the articles. I didn't need the world's judgment. I'd already lived it. My parents eventually confessed. They struck a deal, admitting to embezzlement and falsifying records. My brother faced more serious charges. When the verdict came, I didn't cry. I just exhaled like I'd been holding my breath for years. They were sentenced to probation and restitution. The money was returned, the charity's name cleared, but something deeper was gone forever. Family dinners were memories now. Birthdays passed quietly, and yet, strangely, I felt lighter. One afternoon, months later, we reopened the charity under a new name. The same mission, the same heart, but no ghosts left in the books. The volunteers came back, so did the families we served. I stood near the door, watching laughter fill the room again. The smell of fresh meals replacing months of fear. That's when I noticed Haran, elderly woman, maybe 70, holding a paper cup of soup and smiling shyly at me. "You're the one who runs this place?" she asked. "Yes," I said. Well, she said softly, "My grandson ate here last year when he had nowhere else to go. You saved his life. Thank you." She walked away before I could reply. I stood there, tears stinging my eyes, realizing why I'd fought so hard. It wasn't about revenge. It was about restoring something pure in a world that had tried to stain it. A few days later, I got a letter. No return address, just my name in my mother's handwriting. Inside was a folded note and something small wrapped in tissue paper. The note read, "We're sorry. We thought we were helping. We see now what we destroyed. You were right to stop us. Please forgive us someday." I unwrapped the tissue. Inside was the watch, the same one they'd sent my husband months ago. Except now, the back was engraved. "For doing what's right, even when it's hard." My husband walked in as I held it. "What's that?" he asked gently. I handed it to him. "The past," I said. He smiled softly. "Then let's leave it there." We placed it back in the box, the same black velvet one that had once felt cursed, and set it on a shelf in the office. Not as a trophy, but as a reminder. That love without honesty is just performance. That family without integrity is just blood. And that sometimes, to protect what's good, you have to stand against the ones who raised you. Months later, our charity became stronger than ever. We partnered with new suppliers, launched transparent funding systems, and earned back every lost donor. People trusted us again, not because of our words, but because of our scars. Every time I looked at the watch, I remembered that night at the kitchen table when my instincts screamed danger. And I remembered that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, "Don't touch it."